Self-care is wealth care. You know, when I used to spend money like it was 40 going north and I had no sense anywhere in my head, I used to think buying myself nice things or spending lots of money on my children for Christmas or giving money to all the kids in my family who didn't have what I had. I used to think that was caring, but I realized it's not. What I was doing is I was serving myself. I was feeding a part of myself that was lacking because I came from a history of not having. And our culture has told us that when we get the opportunity to have, then we need to show the world and ourselves that we have it. But that's not care at all. You see, self-care is wealth care. If you love yourself, you will take care of your money. If you love yourself and your children, you will not teach them how to be broke. If you love your children, you will not teach them how to buy things that they cannot afford by doing that very thing. You see, self-care is wealth care. I remember the first time I filed bankruptcy. Let me rewind. I remember the 2 years before the first time I filed bankruptcy. I was in a financial depression. Do you know what a financial depression is? A financial depression is a state where you don't want to deal with money at all. And I didn't want to deal with money. I didn't realize that at the time. But by the time I came to my senses, I remember going into a room in my house that had lots of mail. Mail was everywhere. I had not opened any mail, which meant I didn't pay any bills, which meant I had a lot of bill collectors calling me, which meant I had a lot of collections. And as I was going through each piece of mail one by one, I felt like, oh my God, I don't even want to be here anymore. So I sat there, I got through it. And when I was done, I realized I had amassed so much debt that I could never afford to pay it. So that was my first time filing bankruptcy. I filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. I finished the payment plan. And I thought that part of my life was over. Well, guess what? I did not get to the root of my issue. And if you don't get to the root of your issue, you are never going to find the solution to your money situation. That's why I do the 21 days to financial freedom. The 21 days to financial freedom is like financial rehab. There's no shame, okay? Because everybody has either had a money problem, is having a money problem, or will have a money problem at some time in the future. The only thing you should be ashamed of is not getting help when you know you need it. So if you know you need the help, get it. So I did not get to the root of my problem. I kept overspending. As a matter of fact, after I filed the Chapter 13 bankruptcy, that's when I started making more money than I knew what to do with. So that's when I was living check to Monday. You see, check to check is a blessing. That means you get paid on Friday and by the next payday you're broke. But check to Monday is a whole different game. You get paid on Friday, you kick it on the weekend, you pay on your past due bills, and by Monday you're broke. And as you know, I've said this so many times, I was living that lifestyle, making first $20,000, then $40,000, then $60,000, then $70,000. $80,000 a month. It didn't matter how much money I made. I always found a way to be broke. That's what a financial depression is. You see, a depression is a deep rest. Depressed, deep rest. Have you taken a deep rest from your finances? Have you taken a deep rest from paying attention to your money? Have you taken a deep rest from loving you? You see, when you take care of your money, you show yourself and you show the universe that you love yourself. More importantly, you show God that you are going to take care of the resource that he's given you. That's all money is. It's a resource. And when you become detached from it, then it becomes attracted to you. Let me repeat. When you become detached from money, then it becomes attracted to you. Have you ever been trying to get into a relationship with somebody and you just overdoing it, and they don't want you? But then as soon as you hold back a little bit, now they're like, okay, where you at? That's how money is. You have to detach yourself from it. You have to detach yourself from the things that you think money can do for you. Sometimes you might be attached to money because of the house that you're living in. You're attached to money because of the car that you're driving. You're attached to money because of the clothing that you wear. And you think when you go overspend and buy these nice clothes, everybody says you look nice. Yeah, you look nice, but how do you feel? Don't tell me how you look. How do you feel? You see, a financial depression will spiral you further down than a relationship depression, than a codependency depression. A financial depression will take you out, and I want you to win. So here's the real deal. Self-care is wealth care. If you love yourself, take care of your money. As a matter of fact, when you start paying attention to your money, then you are showing yourself love. But here's the point. Practice wealth care. How much money do you have saved? You don't have to save a whole lot. Save $1 this week, $2 next week, $3 a week after that. Each week, add $1. At the end of the year, you'll have over $1,200, okay? If you got a little more money, start with $2. Or take 10% from every check. I tell people the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save. 30% is cash in your pocket for your incidentals. 50% remains in your checking account for your bills. If you have more than enough money, that's not a license to go out and start buying everything. Like I did. As soon as I had enough money or more than enough money, I bought a bigger house, a bigger car. I had bigger bills and bigger problems, right? You don't want to do that. First, you want to pay off your debt because there's a middleman between you and your wealth, and it's called interest. And interest is making the money that you should be making. Can you imagine? Now, what if I would have knocked on your door and tell you, listen, that money that you thought you were going to make, Jane down the street, she's making it instead of you. You'd walk your butt right down the street and go and get your money. Well, that's what you need to do to your creditors. You need to walk down the street with your bills, and you need to make a decision and stop paying them interest, okay? So pay off your debt. Practice self-care. Self-care is wealth care. If you take care of your wealth, you show that you love yourself. More importantly, you show that you love your family. Let me tell you something.
Welcome everyone, Dr. Mandel here. If you're having a problem with your cholesterol, you notice that you're putting on a lot of weight, as well as imbalances in your sugar levels, then oatmeal may do miracles for you. Everyone's so concerned about gluten, but guess what? Oatmeal is gluten-free. It's filled with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. Here is something that will make tremendous changes in your health. Now, oatmeal is rich in carbs and fiber. It has more protein than fat. And what's beautiful about this food is that because of the high fiber, it stabilizes your blood sugar. Oatmeal is high in antioxidants, and it has compounds called polyphenols. This will improve or help treat your digestion issues. Now, oatmeal contains a powerful soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Beta-glucan partially dissolves in water and forms a thick gel-like solution in the gut. This will help reduce your bad cholesterol, the LDLs, and your total cholesterol. We know that heart disease is the leading cause of death globally. Oxidation of the bad cholesterol, the LDLs, occurs when the LDL reacts with free radicals. This is what causes inflammation in our arteries, raising the risk of heart attacks and strokes. But these antioxidants in oatmeal, working together with vitamin C, helps prevent the LDL or bad cholesterol oxidation. Now, oatmeal will definitely help improve your blood sugar control. It will not only help lower blood sugar levels, especially in people who are overweight or have type 2 diabetes, but it will also improve your insulin sensitivity. Now, what I love about oatmeal is that it's very filling, and it will help you lose weight because you won't have that appetite. So by delaying the time it takes your stomach to empty food, these beta-glucans in oatmeal increases your feeling of fullness. This beta-glucan promotes the release of a peptide YY. It's a hormone produced in the gut in response to eating. This full feeling will keep you from having those extra calories. Now, if you are experiencing any type of skin condition, oatmeal has a long history of use in treatment of conditions like psoriasis, eczema, or any condition where you get this itching and irritation. Asthma is a very common chronic condition in children, although many adults experience it as well. It's an inflammatory disorder of the airways, the tubes that carry air to and from a person's lung. Studies indicate that oatmeal may counteract this. Constipation is a major epidemic worldwide. People are living on laxatives, and their conditions are getting worse. This fiber-rich outer layer of this grain will help relieve constipation. The power in oatmeal are those fibers, the soluble and insoluble fibers. The soluble fibers form a gel-like substance and swells, making us feel full when mixed with water. The insoluble fibers, nothing happens with them. They do not dissolve in water, although this helps push out the waste toxins and waste products from your intestines. Keeping your arteries clean is the most important thing you can do for the cardiovascular system. I'm excited for you because I know by supplementing oatmeal in your diet, you're going to see great results. I ask you to
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We're going to begin tonight with an alarming increase in coronavirus cases across nearly half of the country, including in two of America's largest states. Texas and Florida are now seeing their highest number of new cases since the pandemic began, even as they push forward with reopening. Officials in Houston say the area is nearing a disaster and that they may need to use NRG Arena as a temporary hospital because of a record increase in infections. Tonight, the CDC is warning the death toll from the virus could reach 140,000 by July 4th, and so it's issuing new guidance, including for organizers of large gatherings. After 2 weeks of nationwide protests, the Centers for Disease Control now says anyone attending large gatherings, especially ones that include shouting, chanting, and singing, should wear a face mask. Now, those new recommendations come as the president is heading to West Point tomorrow to deliver a commencement address to more than 1,000 cadets, and just as he's planning to start holding rallies again next week. As President Trump's urging, the Republican Party is also ditching its plan to hold this year's convention in North Carolina due to restrictions the governor there has placed on large gatherings. The president will now accept his party's presidential nomination in Jacksonville, Florida, where he's expected to speak to a crowd as big as 15,000 people in an indoor arena. There's a lot of news to get to tonight, and our team of correspondents is standing by to cover it all. CBS's Janet Shamlin is going to lead off our coverage tonight from Houston. Janet?
Nora, Houston opened to 75% today, as did all of Texas, but it might not last. Officials in this region are cautioning that they may need to order people back home and order this building, NRG Arena, which is next to Houston's football stadium, as a COVID hospital as cases surge in the nation's fourth largest city.
A dire warning tonight amid a record week for COVID-19 cases in the Houston area and across Texas.
I'm growing increasingly concerned that we may be approaching the precipice of a disaster.
The outbreaks come as restaurants like the Dunlady reopen to 75% capacity.
We're able to now have parties of 10.
But restarting the economy is taking its toll, says Lena Hidalgo, the top elected official for 5 million people in Harris County, which includes Houston.
We've had the highest hospitalization number this Monday. It's only grown from there. The numbers we're seeing are very significant.
14 states have seen a spike in coronavirus hospitalization since Memorial Day, and the death toll is now expected to reach almost 170,000 by October. More than 50,000 additional deaths over the next few months.
We've already uncorked the genie. We got our wish, which was to end the home quarantine orders. And now we're seeing people treat that as if COVID-19 is no longer an issue. And that's far from the fact.
The CDC spoke publicly with its first telebriefing in 3 months today, issuing guidelines which include bringing your own food and drinks to a cookout, waving at people instead of hugging, sanitizing hands after using an ATM, and taking the stairs instead of a hotel elevator. It comes as Florida reported its biggest one-day jump in cases today and a record high number in South Carolina this week.
Oregon and Utah now delaying their openings a week after cases there continue to surge. And in the race for a vaccine, Johnson & Johnson today announced it's moving up human trials set for the fall to July. And those new CDC guidelines today, they call for wearing a mask in all large gatherings. Tonight here in Houston, we're at what's called a code orange. That's an uncontrolled transmission of the infection. The hospitals still have room right now, Nora, but they may not for long. Nora.
Janet Shamlian in Houston tonight, thank you.